The champagne had long gone flat, but Marcus still held the glass, watching condensation drip onto his mother's hardwood floor. Around him, the remnants of his promotion celebration lay scattered, discarded napkins, half-eaten cake, the proud smiles of earlier now replaced by something colder. "You always were jealous of David," his sister Claire said, her voice cutting through the sudden silence like a blade. "But stealing his thesis? His entire PhD work? That's a new low even for you." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. 23 years of brotherhood, of shared bedtime stories and scraped knees, of being each other's best man, all of it crumbling in the span of a single sentence. "What?" Marcus set down his glass, the sound unnaturally loud in the quiet room. "Claire, what are you talking about?" But she was already crying, those perfect tears that had gotten her out of trouble since childhood. "David showed me everything. The files on your computer. The emails where you planned it all out. How could you do this to him? To our family?" Marcus's eyes found David across the room. His younger brother stood frozen by the bookshelf, face pale as winter morning. Their parents flanked him like sentries, their expressions a mixture of disappointment and disgust that Marcus had never seen directed at him before. "Son," his father's voice was steady but cold, "we need to talk." The conversation that followed was a masterclass in character assassination. Claire had screenshots, timestamps, detailed explanations of how Marcus had supposedly stolen David's groundbreaking research on renewable energy storage. She spoke with the conviction of someone who'd uncovered a conspiracy, her voice rising with each accusation. "Look at this," she said, shoving her phone toward their parents. "David's been working on this for 3 years. 3 years, and Marcus just takes it and publishes it under his own name for his corporate promotion." Marcus tried to speak, to explain, but every word was cut off by another piece of evidence. The family he'd grown up loving, the people who'd cheered at his graduation and celebrated his engagement, now looked at him like he was a stranger. "I never," Marcus began. "Don't lie to us," his mother interrupted, her voice breaking. "We raised you better than this." David finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "I trusted you, Marcus. I showed you my work because I thought you'd be proud of me. Instead you stole it." The accusation hung in the air like smoke. Marcus felt something fundamental shift inside him, a trust so deep he'd never questioned it suddenly cracking down the middle. "I need some air," he said, standing abruptly. No one tried to stop him. Outside, the October wind cut through his shirt, but the cold felt good against his flushed skin. He sat on the porch steps where he'd learned to tie his shoes, where he'd kissed his first girlfriend, where he'd told his family about his engagement to Sarah just 6 months ago. His phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "How's the celebration going? Can't wait to hear all about it." Marcus stared at the message, unable to respond. How do you tell the woman you love that your own family thinks you're a thief? That your brother, the person you'd protected from bullies and taught to drive, had just destroyed your life with a lie? Because it was a lie. Marcus knew it with the certainty of breathing. He'd never seen David's research, never had access to his files. But somehow Claire had evidence. Somehow she'd built a case that even convinced their parents. The front door opened behind him. David stepped out, looking older than his 25 years. "Marcus, don't." Marcus didn't turn around. "Just don't. I know you're angry, but..." "Angry?" Marcus stood, finally facing his brother. "I'm not angry, David. I'm heartbroken. You're my brother. I changed your diapers. I taught you to ride a bike. I gave the speech at your college graduation. And you think I'd steal from you?" David's composure cracked. "The evidence is right there, Marcus. I don't want to believe it, but you do." Marcus nodded slowly. "You actually believe I'd do this to you? I don't know what to believe anymore." Marcus looked at his brother, really looked at him, and saw something that made his stomach turn. David wasn't just hurt or confused. He was scared. Genuinely, deeply scared. "David," Marcus said quietly, "what's really going on here?" For a moment, David's mask slipped completely. Marcus saw panic flash across his features before the shutters came down again. "I don't know what you mean." But Marcus did know. He'd seen that same look when David was 12 and had broken their mother's favorite vase. When he was 16 and had wrecked Dad's car. When he was 21 and had dropped out of college for a semester without telling anyone. David was lying. But why? The answer came to Marcus slowly, like a photograph developing in darkness. 3 months ago, David had been excited about a breakthrough in his research. 2 months ago he'd gone quiet about it. 6 weeks ago he'd seemed panicked about his dissertation defense timeline. "You didn't finish it," Marcus said suddenly. "The research. You didn't finish it." David's face went white. "That's not. You're behind schedule. Your advisor's putting pressure on you. Your funding is running out." Marcus felt sick as the pieces fell into place. "So you decided to frame me for stealing work that doesn't exist." "You're crazy," David whispered, but his voice was shaking. "Am I? Where's the original research, David? Where are your lab notes? Your data files? If I stole your work, surely you have originals to prove it." David turned to go back inside, but Marcus caught his arm. "Claire's in on it, isn't she? She's helping you because she's always resented me for being the successful one. The responsible one. The one who never needed bailing out." "Let go of me," David said, but he didn't deny it. Marcus released him, feeling hollow. "You're willing to destroy our family for this? You're willing to let everyone believe I'm a thief?" "I had no choice," David said quietly. "Do you know what it's like being your brother? Perfect Marcus who never fails at anything. I was supposed to be the genius, the PhD, the one who finally outdid you. And I couldn't even do that. So you decided to destroy me instead." David looked at him with something approaching hatred. "You have everything, Marcus. The job, the girlfriend, the respect. What's one little scandal? You'll bounce back. You always do. This isn't just a scandal, David. This is my career. My reputation. My relationship with our parents. With you." "Yeah, well," David said, reaching for the door handle, "maybe that's exactly what I wanted." The door slammed shut, leaving Marcus alone with the weight of his brother's betrayal. The next 3 days were the longest of Marcus's life. The story spread through their social circle like wildfire. Claire had been thorough, sending her evidence to family, friends, colleagues, even some of Marcus's co-workers. The court of public opinion was swift and merciless. Sarah tried to be supportive, but Marcus could see the doubt creeping in. "I know you didn't do it," she said over dinner, but she wouldn't meet his eyes. "Do you?" Marcus asked quietly. "Of course I do. It's just, the evidence is so detailed. How did they fake all of that?" Marcus had been wondering the same thing. The screenshots Claire had shown looked legitimate. The emails had his name on them. Someone had put serious effort into framing him. The answer came from an unexpected source. Marcus was cleaning out his desk at work. His boss had suggested he take a leave of absence until the situation was resolved, when his phone rang. "Marcus." The voice was unfamiliar. "This is Dr. Patricia Chin. I'm David's dissertation advisor." Marcus froze. "Dr. Chin. I assume you've heard about the situation." "I have. That's why I'm calling. I think we need to talk." They met at a coffee shop near the university. Dr. Chin was a small woman with sharp eyes and an air of barely contained frustration. "I want you to know," she said without preamble, "that I never believed the accusations against you. They don't make sense from an academic standpoint." "What do you mean?" "The research David claims you stole? It's theoretical work on energy storage polymer matrices. You work in corporate finance, Marcus. You wouldn't even know where to begin applying that research." Marcus felt the first spark of hope he'd had in days. "Then why haven't you said anything?" Dr. Chen's expression darkened. "Because I've been trying to figure out what David is really up to. And I think I know." She pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. Inside were printouts of emails, lab reports, and academic records. "David has been failing his program for months," she explained. "His research hit a dead end last year, but he kept promising breakthrough results. When it came time to defend his dissertation, he had nothing." Marcus scanned the documents. The picture they painted was damning. David had falsified data, missed deadlines, and lied to his advisor repeatedly. "He was about to be expelled," Dr. Chin continued. "His funding was being revoked. His academic career was over. But then suddenly he comes to me with this story about his brother stealing his work. It was a perfect excuse for why he couldn't produce results. So he made me the scapegoat. More than that, he's been using your reputation to buy himself time. My brother stole my work sounds a lot better than I'm a failure who fabricated research." Marcus felt anger rising in his chest, hot and pure. What about the evidence? The screenshots, the emails. Fabricated. Quite skillfully, I'll admit. David has always been good with computers. Dr. Chen leaned forward. But he made one mistake. He dated some of the fake emails from a period when you were traveling for work. I checked. You were in Singapore for 2 weeks during the time frame he claims you were communicating with his supposed collaborators. Marcus stared at the folder. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm tired of watching a promising young man's life be destroyed by lies. And because I have a proposal. Dr. Chen's proposal was elegant in its simplicity. She wanted Marcus to compile evidence of David's deception. Travel records, work schedules, anything that could prove his innocence. In exchange, she would provide expert testimony about the academic impossibility of the theft claims. But I want you to understand, she said, this won't just clear your name. It will destroy David's. He'll be expelled, his academic career will be over, and he'll likely face charges for falsifying research. Marcus thought about his brother. The scared, desperate look in his eyes, the years of feeling inadequate, the weight of living in an older brother's shadow. He's still my brother, Marcus said quietly. And he was willing to destroy you to save himself. The question is, are you willing to let him? Marcus took the folder. What do you need me to do? The process took 2 weeks. Marcus compiled travel records, work schedules, and credit card statements that proved he'd been nowhere near David's research during the alleged theft. He gathered emails and documents that showed he'd never had access to David's academic work. Most importantly, he found the smoking gun. David's laptop backup files, which he'd stored on their parents' home network, contained multiple drafts of the fabricated emails. The metadata showed they'd been created just days before Claire's accusations. Dr. Chen was right. David was talented with computers, but he wasn't perfect. The hardest part was staying silent while his reputation crumbled. Marcus watched friends distance themselves, saw the doubt in Sarah's eyes grow stronger, felt the cold disappointment from his parents like a physical weight. But he also saw something else. David was falling apart. The stress of maintaining his lie was eating him alive. He'd lost weight, developed dark circles under his eyes, and jumped at every unexpected sound. Claire, meanwhile, had doubled down on her support of David. She'd organized a family meeting, where she presented even more evidence of Marcus's guilt. She'd started a social media campaign defending David as a victim of academic theft. Marcus realized that Claire wasn't just helping David, she was enjoying it. The golden child role she'd always craved was finally hers, and she was basking in the attention. 2 weeks after meeting with Dr. Chen, Marcus was ready. He called a family meeting of his own. I want to clear the air, he told his parents over the phone. I have some things to show you about what really happened. They agreed to meet at the family home on a Saturday evening. Marcus arrived to find everyone already there. His parents, Claire, David, and even Sarah, who'd been invited by his mother. I'm glad you're finally ready to apologize, Claire said as Marcus set up his laptop on the dining room table. David deserves to hear you admit what you did. You're right, Marcus said calmly. Someone definitely deserves to admit what they did. He opened his laptop and pulled up the first document. This is my travel itinerary from August 15th to September 1st. I was in Singapore for work, attending the Asia-Pacific Financial Summit. His father frowned. What does that have to do with? These, Marcus said, pulling up the next screen, are the emails David claims prove I stole his research. Notice the dates. August 20th, 22nd, 24th, 27th. All times when I was supposedly coordinating with his research partners. Marcus turned the laptop toward his family. Now these are my passport stamps, hotel receipts, and conference attendance records. I was 8,000 miles away when these emails were allegedly sent. The room fell silent. David's face had gone pale, but Claire quickly jumped in. Anyone can fake travel records, she said. This doesn't prove anything. You're right, Marcus said. So let me show you something else. He pulled up the metadata analysis Dr. Chen had helped him compile. These are the creation dates for the email files on David's laptop. They were all created on October 5th, 3 days before you accused me of theft. David made a strangled sound. I can explain. Can you? Marcus turned to face his brother directly. Can you explain why you fabricated emails to frame me for a crime that never happened? Can you explain why you've been lying to Dr. Chun about your research progress for over a year? Marcus pulled up the academic records. David hasn't completed his dissertation. He hasn't made any breakthroughs in renewable energy storage. He's been failing his program for months and was about to be expelled. That's not true, Claire said, but her voice lacked conviction. It is true, Marcus said. And David decided that destroying me was easier than facing the truth about his own failures. The room erupted. His parents demanded explanations. Claire accused Marcus of fabricating evidence. Sarah sat in stunned silence. But David just broke down. I'm sorry, he sobbed. I'm so sorry, Marcus. I never meant for it to go this far. I was just so scared, and Claire said we could make it work, and I thought maybe if I had more time. You thought you'd destroy your brother's life to buy yourself more time? Their mother asked, her voice shaking. I didn't think anyone would really believe it, David whispered. I thought Marcus would prove his innocence quickly, and then maybe people would forget about my academic problems. Instead, you let our entire family believe he was a thief, their father said coldly. Marcus felt no satisfaction in watching his brother fall apart. Only sadness for what they'd both lost. Claire, he said quietly, you knew, didn't you? You knew he was lying. His sister's defiance cracked. I was trying to help him. He's been struggling, and you've always had everything so easy. So you decided to destroy me too. I thought you'd be fine, she said desperately. You always land on your feet. David needed this more than you did. Marcus closed his laptop. I need you all to understand something. This isn't just about false accusations. David didn't just lie about me, he fabricated academic research. He could face criminal charges for that. Claire didn't just help him. She orchestrated a campaign of character assassination against her own brother. He stood up, feeling exhausted. I've given Dr. Chin permission to pursue whatever action she deems appropriate regarding David's academic fraud. As for the rest of you, I need time to think about whether I can forgive this. Sarah caught up with him in the driveway. Marcus, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. Should you have? Marcus asked quietly. The evidence was pretty convincing. I don't blame you for having doubts. I blame myself, she said. I know you. I know your character. I should have trusted that. Marcus looked at the woman he'd planned to marry, seeing her clearly for the first time in weeks. Do you trust me now? Completely. Then that's enough for me. They drove home together in silence, both processing what had happened. Marcus's phone buzzed constantly. Messages from family members, friends who'd heard the news, colleagues who wanted to know if he was coming back to work. But Marcus ignored them all. He was thinking about David, about the desperate fear in his brother's eyes, about the years of feeling inadequate that had led to this moment. He was thinking about Claire, about her willingness to destroy him for what she perceived as a lifetime of favoritism. He was thinking about his parents, about how quickly they'd turned on him, about whether trust, once broken, could ever be fully repaired. Most of all, he was thinking about himself. About the man he'd been before this started, and the man he was becoming in its aftermath. The truth had set him free, but freedom came with a price. The family he'd grown up in no longer existed. The brother he'd loved was gone, replaced by someone driven by jealousy and desperation. The sister he'd protected was revealed as someone capable of calculated cruelty. But as Marcus sat in his apartment that night, Sarah beside him, he realized something important. He'd learned who he really was in the crucible of false accusations. He'd discovered that his character was strong enough to withstand the worst kind of betrayal. He'd found that love tested by doubt could emerge even stronger. The phone rang. David's name appeared on the screen. Marcus stared at it for a long moment, then declined the call. Some bridges once burned couldn't be rebuilt. Some truths once revealed couldn't be forgotten. But some people, when tested by fire, discovered they were stronger than they'd ever imagined. Marcus was one of them. And that, he thought, was enough.